They look very just common. But when you ask them to do a demonstration, when they pose, it's a different person. And in fact, what Amy just pointed out is very, very important. It's easy to do the action scene when you're moving, because the camera has a way to capture it. But it is very hard to be still, because when you are someone who has training in martial arts, whenever you stand there, you raise your hand and know how many years you have spent in this skill. Because it's really like you don't see any flaws. It's perfect, it's well balanced. Like, so if they have to be the Grandmaster in the film, I just want, like Tony and G, when they just stand there, you can feel that. Because the skill, the spirit is already with them. I still remember the first time G came to the set. She came with 3 luggages.
I was ready for you.
No, only 3. And then later on I can see like washing machines, cookers, and like she has the whole like kitchens. Then I know, well, she's in the film, because it's not going to be a short process. And in a way, because the trainers, I have to say something about the trainers, they are not just professional trainers. They are all like really good masters. And they support the film. They are not doing it for money. They spend time with them. They do training with them. And they also involve in the choreography of the actions together with Yuan Wu-ping. And whenever we have a take, after each take, either Tony or G, they are not looking at me or not looking at Bahia. They're looking at their trainers, because they need to have the approval of the trainer too, because they know these people are really like supporting this film and supporting them and spending time with them to make sure that the skills looks perfect. And I have to say, like, also Yuan Wu-ping, without him it's impossible to make all the action scenes in this film so great. Because the first things that we met, the first time we met, I told Baye, I call him Baye because it's like uncle, because he's our senior. So I told him that I want this Kung Fu film to be authentic. I don't want any flying, any over the top, any show, any tricks. So I want Tony and G to perform the action scene by themselves and not just taking close up with a lot of doubles. And he looked at me, he said, "Are you serious?" So I bring him to our training rooms, and he realized that we are serious. So he's been working very, very hard, because normally when he's doing choreograph, he don't like people to involve. And he, in this film, he worked closely with our trainers to make sure that every detail is right. He's very generous.
I read in an interview that Tony gave in the press kit that what troubled you the most, what you were most worried about, was that you would hurt someone. And you know, that and your trainer said to think of them not as people, your opponents, but as punching bags. So could you talk a little bit about that kind of difficulty?
Yeah, I think that's, I always wanted to learn Kung Fu. When I was a kid, I was a big fan of Bruce Lee, but I don't have a chance to learn Kung Fu. But somehow after 40-something years, I have a chance to. My idol Kung Fu master, I have a chance to learn Kung Fu. After I studied Kung Fu, I really enjoyed learning Kung Fu, but not punching on people. I really hate that kind of feeling. But you have to do that. Every day after I practice the basic moves, then I have to do sparring with my trainer. I just can't do it. I don't know. I take quite a long time to overcome that. Even when I was on the set, I just don't feel good. He hates me very much every time I said, and he said, punch him, no! He's a human, punch him.
But he did well with GE.
He didn't punch me. No.
So, I think
But he said he always said that you put more pads on your
I
stomach.
can overcome all the difficulties throughout the process, but this is the only thing I still can do it.
It's a
No, I
good
don't
man.
enjoy, but if you really ask me to, then I can, but I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy the feeling of
We couldn't
punching.
see you enjoy a lot.
Could I just ask the practical questions that I know the producers want to know? How long was the shoot and how much did the bloody thing cost?
Well, actually, we shot for 22 months over 3 years. And the cost of the pictures is 25 million US.
And could you talk a little bit about the difficulties of the North and the South, and in particular about building that set for the train? I mean, that's a remarkable set, that train station, and I take it is a set.
No, it's not a set. Actually, it's a real, like, a deserted train station in the north of China. And I have to tell you about the story of this production, why it takes so long. Because in every production, since we have producers, like here, in the audience, so you must know, like, there's always accidents in the productions. So our plan actually was quite perfect, because we know the film, we have like the south and the north. So and in the north actually it's very, very cold. It's like minus 20 or 30s in the winter. So we plan to shoot like during fall in the south, and then once we finish, when we spend the winter in the south, which is very warm, and then we move by spring to the north, so it will be less cold. And so, but unfortunately, before we start shooting, Tony broke his arm, like during rehearsal. So we have to move the productions. We cannot stop, so we have to move the productions to the north, which is freezing cold in the winter. So that's why, like, when you look at the train station scene, it is not CG. The train actually is a CG train, because we cannot ask GE to fight along near the train. But that's the only things that involve CGIs. And so we have to put her in that train stations every night for 2 months, like shooting that scenes. And later on, once we finish all the parts in the north, it's become like spring. By the time we go back to the south and Tony's recover, so it's summer. So it's extremely hot. I think that summer is the hottest summer in the last 20 years. So we have to start thinking about options, because, well, we know we are going to do a big action scene with Tony, because everybody knows Tony is a great actor, but we all have questions, like for most of the audience, can he fight? So we have to make sure this action scene is right. So, because it's so hot, so we think, well, it's a good idea to, especially in the south, it's always raining, so we put rains. So we thought it's a great, very, very smart idea, and we spent 1 month under this shower, you know, and it's freezing cold, and it's not a very good idea.
I think we have to open it up for questions from the audience. So wave your hands wildly, standing in the back of the house. There. Yeah.
This question is for yourself. I've always admired Director Wong's films because of their depiction of women, but Gonga is like someone we've never seen. There's so much about her that would be normally for a man, that she's the inheritor of the house, she's the Grandmaster, she's coming for revenge. But you
First of all, there's no script. There's one Kar-wai specialty. But I still love him. I love to work with him. I believe there's a Gong in every single woman. I love this character. That's why I'm very grateful to Wang Kar-wai, even though he tortured me for so long. And I think you have to know that you have to be yourself, knowing yourself, and doing what you feel right. So for me, I think the character built up between the trust, because I don't know the script, I don't know my character. I only know my character, I only know the story before the movie opened in China. So for me, everything's new. But during the process, I learned so much, and I felt so much of the character. I think I'm just the luckiest actress in the world, because character like this, you will never meet her again. It's just happened once in your life. So that's why I say something in China. One day I don't want to do any more martial arts film, because I don't believe there's another role can surpass this everything.
Yeah, straight in front of me. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I just want to say congratulations, and Wong Kar-wai, I love your movies. So one of the questions that I had is that most of your films, or all of your films, you've worked without a script. How do you do that? How do you find your characters? And Tony has worked with you in so many movies, so I'm sure he's had a hard time too showing up on set, not knowing what his character is about. How do you build them up?
Basically, it's like we all know, is before we have a film, the way is, the process is a little bit different, because I think in most, the general way to make a film is, first of all, you have a script, and then you make the films according to that. And because I'm also the writer of the films, and I know, like, more or less where the story goes. And one of the reasons I don't want to have a full script, because I don't want to restrict myself. And the other way is because, just imagine, like the Grandmasters, is we announce the film, and then later on, we have like 7 Grandmaster story about your men. And then I'm not very fast. So there's like 6 or 7 story about your men, films about your men released already. But that's not a problem. And the one thing that I want to say is like, once you work with actors and actors like Tony, because I worked with them before, I know how high they can fly. And in fact, like the character of Gong is basically something I want to borrow from Ji herself, because she looked very, very like in a way petite, or like very feminine. But in fact, what I can see, she's a fighter. And in a way, the character of Gong it's very, very difficult, because you have to understand, like at the time in 1936, it's like the early days of the Republic. There are a lot of great men, because they went through the transitions from a monarchy into republic, and they have new ideas. They have new passions to build a young country. And at the same time, there's also great women, and they are from all walks of life. They are martial artists, they are opera singers, they are intellectual, they are like artists. And these women, they all have like their dream. They don't want to be bound to the traditional role of being a good wife, good mother. They make their share to build this country, and they want to have their own identity. So in the films, Zhang Ji not have to go through the training of like martial art. You also have to train to be a doctor, to be a singer, because the thing is, it's very hard to portray the woman in those days is without the elegance and without the air. They are very civilized. They are not just like someone from a fighters, a daughters of a fighters. They are from a very civilized family. And in a way, in a film, to learn the character of man, Zhang Ji is the character of Gong Er doesn't means only a woman or a comrade in the same like discipline, but also a time that is almost like a paradise lost. That's the best of his life.
Yeah, right here.
Yes, Kar-wai, you made an amazingly beautiful film. I can't remember when I've seen such a moving, beautiful film. I was just wondering about the process of how do you budget and finance a film without having a script and doing it. It seems like an interesting, mysterious process.
I'll repeat the question. He's asking about financing. How did he get the money without showing anyone his script?
First of all, I think I'm the very lucky one. And for this film, we have the idea in 1998, and we prepped the film. But we have to wait until 2007 to make this film. The wait is because we have to raise the finance for this film. It's a very expensive film. And because of the growth or in the Chinese market, we'll be able to finance this film. And how I financed this film without a script, because even though I don't have a script, but it is basically not a secret, everybody knows. And also I work with people that we've been working for a long time. And also I communicate, and I have to not sending them script. I have to be the person who speak about the film, the idea of it. And I'm very glad and grateful to people who have the trust, not only from the investor, but also from the cast, because it took them like 3 years of their life to make this film. So actually, I'm very grateful.
I want to jump in with a question really fast because I think people will want to know. This is shot entirely on film except for the high-speed fight stuff. And could you tell the story about Fuji and the end of Fuji?
Well, it's actually a very emotional moment because we started pictures in 3 years ago, and at that time people still many films shot in film stocks, and we keep shooting. And at a point, almost at the end of this shoot, I have a letter from Fuji, the company that produced the film stock. He said, "So we're sorry to inform you that will be the last shipment because we are not going to produce this film stock anymore." And you feel very sad about this because it's not only a hint, a sign to tell you that it's about time for you to stop shooting this film. But it also tells you it's a time that shooting with film stock is over. It's going to be the digital time. So in a way, when you look at this letter, you will feel like, what happened to all this beautiful Panavision camera? What happened to all this lamp? And what happened to the experience of seeing all these beautiful grains on the big screen? And in a way, I still keep the last can of that film stock because I think that's very memorable.
Yeah.
The film has many beautiful things about martial arts, but I'm interested if you could each talk about what you feel from this point in time martial arts and in particular Kung Fu means to you, which is a very un-martial arts thing to do, but if you could indulge that question.
The question is, could all three speak about what martial arts and Kung Fu means to them at this point in time, I guess for the rest of their lives.
No, just for this point. Just for this point. Sorry.
I think martial arts, to me, I think, just like what I said, it's a way of life. To me, I'm more attracted to the mind training thing and not the fighting techniques. To me, it's a way to train my mind.
Martial arts to me means the Grandmaster. I think if I keep my vow, that's my last martial art.
No, she will change her mind later. So what I want to say about what this film means to me, or it's what this journey has actually given me some meanings. It's like, first of all, I just want to say, like, Chinese martial art is not just about fighting. In a way, there's a lot of wisdom and philosophy in it. And today, Chinese martial arts basically exist in China in two forms. One is called the competitive martial arts, which there's no school. It's a combination of different skill, and it's considered as sports. It's for the Olympics. But the traditional Chinese martial art actually is not sports. Some people thought, well, this is yoga or this Tai Chi is good for your body. It's not true, because when you look at the first two generations of the Tai Chi master, they are not like, they die very young. and in traditional Chinese martial art, there's like master, there's students, and there's certain experience. It's like passing on the torch from one generation to the others. But today in China, the traditional martial arts exist only in privates, or they're still like individuals in practicing it. I still remember in one very cold winter, during my trip to the research, I look for a grandmaster in Taiyuan, a small town in China. And it's 5 o'clock in the morning, it's snowing. I find this grandmaster who's like in his 70s, and he's practicing with like his students, around 30 of them. And they've been doing this like for years, every day. But the youngest of his students is 55. And he told me that because they can only concentrate to their practice after they retire. And it's very sad. And one thing I've been very grateful to all these masters who show me the skill, talk to me about what is this skill, the philosophy, the wisdom. Some of the lines in the film is not from me. It's during this interview. I learned from them. And they feed me even. They never ask for money or credits. The reason is they believe and they hope with the film that they will bring more awareness to like the situation of traditional martial arts in China. And so I'm very glad because of the success of the film in China, we have more awareness about what traditional Chinese martial arts is about. And I hope there will be more follow-ups. And one thing is, today when we look at the China today, we see like it's growing very fast. And I think it's about time for us to revisit some of our heritage. And I would hate to see like treating manners and sense of considerations as an old virtues. I think we have to keep the idea of being like civilized, not only just for martial artists, but for like there's so many things in life that we have to have the manners and sense of consideration. Thank you.
you all very much. I'm sorry, that's all we have time for. Thank you.
Thank you.